Commissioners Court, how you doing? Judge Shaw's not going to be here today, so I'm going to take her place today. Okay. Roll call. Commissioner Yauer? Here. Rosales here. Duke? Here. Jendo? Here. You're all here. Y'all please stand up. Please stand up.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all our blessings, especially for the recent rain. We ask that you be with us today as we consider action for the county and our community. We ask that you be with everyone on the road in the county, protect them. We're thankful for our law enforcement, EMS, and all the people in the county who work for our protection. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have citizens to be heard. We have 5, 6, and 7, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to number 8. I'm going to conduct a public hearing to receive public input on county road speed limit. That's number 8. Time limit on that one is 9:01 a.m. Tuesday, March 11, 2014.
I have a proposal.
On what item? We'll call it. You're good.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
It's okay.
I said back to Joe.
Okay. Thought he just gave me a favor.
I'll give you just a second to review the document I presented. This is the recommendation that Mike and I have worked on and put together and are in agreement on this morning to make to the court. And we certainly would like to have input from the citizens if there are additional roads. Those are just recommendations. And I'll give you a brief justification of why that recommendation was made. Let me start out by saying, under the procedures set forth in the Texas Transportation Code, the Commissioner's Court has the authority, even without conducting a public hearing, to set the speed limit on all county roads at 30 miles per hour. Obviously, there are some exceptions to that, roads that need to be set at a different speed. For the benefit of those here who may not be aware, under state statute, if the Commissioner's Court does not establish a speed limit on a county road, the speed limit is 60 miles per hour. So I'm serious. Now, I see some chuckles in the courtroom, but that's accurate. Unless the court reduces that speed limit under state law, our county road speed limit is 60 miles per hour.
On our
So-
county road.
Yes.
Well, the truckers are doing it.
Well, I believe you, and that's why we're here this morning. It needs to be reduced. So we're recommending that all county roads throughout the entire state be reduced to 30 miles per hour. And then the Transportation Code also provides that roads in residential areas can be reduced to 20 miles per hour with the court conducting a public hearing. That's what we're doing this morning, is the public hearing. And I've identified roads in our communities that are outside corporate limits. In Hobson, I'm recommending 371, 372, 373, 374, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, all be set at 20 miles per hour. And 222 from 181 east to 181 west. And that may sound confusing, and that map's too small to put up for everyone to see.
220 or 222?
I'm almost certain it's 220, but
Okay, you said 220.
did I? I'm sorry, it's 220. I apologize. It's 220 from 81 west to 81 east through the community of Hobson. It starts on one side and moves through to the other side. As it goes beyond 81, we'd like to leave it at 30 because it's back out in the rural area. And Sestahova, all of 245, 389 from 245 to State Highway 123. After you cross 123, it's back in a rural area. And the same thing with 230. At its beginning at FM 3191, 3/10 of a mile west. Beyond the 3/10 of a mile, you're back in a rural area. So it would need to go back up to 30. Santa Maria, 242 from FM 81 to County Road 381. And those that are familiar with Santa Maria, that road is the road that goes out by the cemetery. So if you start at 81 and go to 381, it's a residential area. After you go north from 381, it becomes rural. And then 381, 380, 381, 382, and 383. In Helena, 298, 299, and 300, and 302 from this intersection of 300 north 3/10 of a mile. And again, beyond that 3/10 of a mile, you're back into a rural area. In Gillette, 278, 279, 280, 281, and then 277 from the Plato Creek Bridge to this intersection with FM 887. Outside of the residential communities, Mike and I have identified 2 additional roads, 189 from this intersection of 626 west for 1.2 miles. To orient you to that, if you look from 626, go west to the water tank. The water tank and the house directly across the street is the last residential area on that road. The remainder of it's rural open land. So we would recommend beyond the water tank it would be 30. From the water tank back to 626, we'd recommend 20. And then the entire length of 160. There's 15 houses on 160 from where it intersects 72, moves through and comes back to 72. I'm open for questions, comments, or I'll yield to the next. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So we're doing this as, we would do this as a blanket, which would include the paved roads in the 30-mile plan.
Yes, sir, and then
Remember we talked about?
we did talk about that, Pete, and I appreciate you bringing that back to my attention. If you'll give me that road number and 211 and your recommendation, 45.
45. That's a Fall City Cemetery road, about 6 miles long, it's a paved road. And 30 miles per hour, maybe a little slow.
But I certainly don't have a problem with that. I've driven and looked at it and concur. But what we'll do after the hearing today, after we get input from the citizens, if there are additional roads that need modifying, we'll sit down and review it with the Commissioner's Court's approval. Herb and I will draw up an order, and then at the next Commissioner's Court meeting, we'll present that order, and you can actually enter the order. Today is just a public hearing to collect information. Any other roads, or any other comments?
No, the comment I was gonna ask was like, on a lot of these, you're changing in between the roads. So you're gonna have like a 30-mile-an-hour sign there, and then when it changes to 20,
Yes.
another 20.
We'll have 2 postings on those roads. Yes.
Who's gonna be watching them all the time? Because in the past, when I was doing that for 8 years, the signs do get stolen.
They do, and same thing happens with our road signs and every marker we put out, it's subject to being stolen.
So if there's one stolen and they're doing 30 all the way through and an accident happens, they'll say,
It has to be posted, and of course, y'all are aware, we have an in-house sign department now, we make our own signs. So So we know this is going to be a priority for us after the court establishes these limits. Then we have the legal ability to go out and start posting roads. Right now, we can't post it. We don't have any authority to post it.
This also gives the sheriff's department the authority, the ability, some tools they can use to write a ticket on people going to those speed limits.
Yes, sir, after it's posted, it has to be posted first. And that'll take some time. We know that.
You gonna hire some more deputies? Enforce it?
Sir,
You gonna hire some more deputies?
we'll be looking at that in the next budget
I
time.
hope so.
Sheriff just got through hiring 3 more the other day, so well, I'm just saying, he's got through hiring 3, we're on the start.
What constitutes a residential area?
We use 2 criteria. When we were looking at roads, obviously those in communities, Hobson, for example, that's obviously a residential area. The other criteria that we looked at, when we counted the number of houses on the road, and if we determined that there was a significant number of houses within a confined space, and it's just a rule of thumb, there's nothing in the Texas Department of Transportation code that identifies a residential area has to have X number of houses per mile.
I live at the end of County Road 293, dead ends at my day.
Well, can we take that as
County Road
testimony?
293.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me conclude, and then I'd like for you to present that to the court as public testimony.
Okay.
Is there any other questions?
No, those are the only questions I have.
And I'll be available for any
Yeah.
comments or questions. Thank you.
Okay. County Road 293 comes
Good
off.
morning, just state your name and.
Oh, I'm Patricia
Yeah.
Schindel.
Okay.
I live at the end of County Road 293.
Just so I the public,
It dead ends at my gate. I've got no oil field traffic signs up at my gate. It used to be a one-lane road. Right now, it is, I would say, a 2 or 3 lane road with no ditches. All the dirt is pushed in the ditches. When it rains like it did, it's still muddy. And yes, y'all have gone out there and tried to fix it. But then you've got 18-wheeler traffic from Titsco or Tetsco, whatever it is. And EOG makes all the big trucks come around on County Road 293 to go in to their back gate. They're a business and they've got, I was going 10 miles an hour to save my front end, and an 18-wheeler pushed me off the side and passed me on County Road 293. You can't go 20 on it. If you do, you're gonna ruin your front end again. I put 2 new front ends on my truck. My old man's busted his completely and used the tree to stop it. You can't keep the front end on it. It's every 2 months if I want to keep a good set of tires on it. And then it shouldn't be 20, it shouldn't be 30, it shouldn't be 45 unless the road is fixed so that it is 2 cars can drive on it. What they do is I'm going 10 miles an hour and getting bumped all over the place. 18-wheeler comes up on me. Well, he showed me a few fingers, and then he waits for a little area, and then he's whizzing by me. Well, in order to turn them in, you have to have their license tag, the name of the truck. Well, I got the name of the truck when he went whizzing by me. And then I said, mess on my front end. I caught up with him, he got his license. No. I don't know if anybody did anything about it or not, but I did turn him in. But County Road 293, if y'all make it 30 miles an hour, I can't leave my house without getting killed. Those 18-wheelers, they go, oh, somebody's coming. Whip out in front of you real quick, stop up there by Mr. Golden's place, get out and smoke a cigarette and talk on their phone. And relieve themselves. I've been seeing it ever since all that's been going on. And I've been there since 1989. I'm residential as far as I'm concerned. There's a lady who lives in a gray house on the corner. I don't see how she lives there with all it does. You've got Tipstone or whatever, and EOG, and then you've got me. So I'm not residential, so they can go 60 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour. Anyway, that's my opinion on that. But Texas has given us $7 million, Karnes County, for county roads. But y'all have to set up a transportation reinvestment zone in order to get the funds. Has anybody started that?
Who does that?
Well, my road needs to be on that list. Or even y'all can all come out and visit me, and if any of you driving in a normal truck or a car can go 20 miles an hour today down that road, I'll fix your line. You can't get, it's 10, and you can't even really go 10. That's my gripe.
Thank you, ma'am.
You could have it.
Any other public comments?
Yeah. Butch Lopper. I live out on County Road 326, and currently it's posted at
What county road?
326, goes off to 792, Kennedy, and Export, goes all the way to Run. Currently, the speed limit is set at 25 miles an hour, and it's a big, wide county road. I think it ought to be 45. I mean, it's too slow. Nobody's driving 25 miles an hour, and there's, I think just off the road, there's myself and probably 3 or 4 other residences in 5 miles. Again, it's the river. Big, wide county road, a lot of traffic, but I think 45 is an adequate speed for that road. It used to be paved, hopefully maybe one of these days it'll get paved again, but I'd like to just make my comments of be set at 45. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Barry Oscar, and I'm here to talk about County Road 186. I talked to Pete, I talked to Herb a couple weeks ago, and talked to Mike 3 weeks ago. And when all started, all started, I went to Marathon and asked them for their everything that I drove it off Marathon truck and asked them what we can do about it, the speed of the dust and the speed and all that. Y'all could you tell me what you want to do with this Marathon? And I said, what do you want to put it at? I don't know, at 25, I like to see 10, but that ain't realistic, but 25 to me is realistic. And he said, we'll make a sign for you. We'll both sides, my sister on that house across the road from me. And I said, that's fine. What size sign you want? I ain't gonna sign it in the business, I don't know. He said, 3 by 5, how about that? All right. So we'll put it on there. And he said, Mr. Jasper, you ever stop anybody that's going, after you just sign up over 25, you let me know who they are, and they won't be working for me no more. Contractors, employees, that's pretty good. I will say that the restaurant does, I can't argue at all with what they do with the employees and the contractors. So they put the signs up, and I was a policeman, I go out there, somebody went up 25, and I telephone folks, I knew exactly what 25 was. And I stop them and I say, aren't you speeding, sir? He said, yes, sir, I am. And I say, I know I stopped 400 people in the last 2 years, and 2 out of 400 got smart with me, and all 398 of the other ones came with that, real polite. I mean, we had a good conversation. We're all out there to make a living. Everyone was like, we're working to make a living, they're good working to make a living. But I don't like it 160, 70, 50 miles an hour down the road, dust flying everywhere, tires flying off the truck and going fences, knocking down mailboxes. But, I got that actually, the mailbox was knocked down. And it's because of the excess speed. So anyway, I talked to Jeffrey, and he had 2 signs put up for me on each side of the road, like you were saying earlier. 25. Every time I put theirs up, I bought 3 other ones. And Jeffrey put 2 of them up, and I put 4 of them. And I put 2 of them up, not on the county road, on the fence line, on my fence post, where I was talking about building. So I got 8 signs there at 25. And anytime I stop somebody, it's 4 lanes each way. And anytime I stop one for speeding, they say, I saw him, sir. I'm sorry, like I said. But 30, and I was talking to Mike and he said 30 was gotta be state law. And I didn't think that would be right, and I'm a lawyer and I didn't know. But then I found out last commissioner's meeting that it ain't law. Y'all can decide that you want to put it. And like I said, I would like to see 10 or 15, but realistically, 25 is good. That road also has 2 90-degree curves on it, and there's no way you can make 25, 30 miles an hour curve. There's no way you can do it even with a fence. You have to slow down for curves there. So I'm here to ask for County Road 186, we put it 25, keep it 25, or lower. If these guys want to lower it, that's fine with me. But at least keep it 25, that'd be better now. All right?
Because the main reason is you have 2 bad curves that you can't make it at 30.
You won't make those 30. And then the dust. And then my sister owns a house across the road. She was renting the family would give the school bus would come. And the trucks, 18-wheelers, and all the trucks went 30. The school bus stopped and it ended up upside down. That wasn't going to work. And then now, of course, renters, some renters have to get some don't, it's right now. But maybe we should rent house next all the time. Could be each other. And that's the main thing. 2 years ago, Fairtown with signs and kids, and school buses, we had this, so we had these on. Anyway, I got a letter, I give each one of y'all, get on my meeting, but I would just like y'all to consider leaving out on 25 or lower, let these guys decide, but 30 to me is too fast, that road. Okay? That one piece for y'all. Sir.
Anyone else on the roads, public hearing?
Corey Shard, I live on County Road 330. Our road is deteriorating like everyone else's road. We know that the bridge can't get to our road anytime soon. But the 18-wheeler traffic is, in 1 year, is just, the resurfaced sidewalk back here, it's already been destroyed. The problem with having a speed limit, countywide speed limit, 30, 35 miles an hour, whatever, then becomes a problem with enforcement. Comments made this morning that we'll discuss that at the next budget meeting about additional law enforcement officers. Because of the nature of the destruction of our road, and these drivers get paid by the loaded mile. I mean, when they dump their load, they're trying to get back, get another load, make another dollar. I understand that. In the meantime, our roads continue to be destroyed. The state of Texas is $7.5 million. Is not going to resolve the problem today or the next 30 years, and $7 million a year. You're going to talk about 14 miles of road. I would like to ask that the commissioners consider having a special emergency meeting with the sole subject being to increase the number of deputies. Increase the number of deputies by at least 8 10 more officers so that you can have officers on patrol. This, unless you live on a county road. I think Tracy's the only one on the commissioner's court that lives on a county road. It's not an issue, it's not a priority for the commissioner's court. It's not an emergency. You don't have to drive down that road 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. We've got some county roads out there that the previous commissioner's court, or previous administration, intentionally plowed up and they just left. Those people are not even on the priority list. They just have to drive through potholes and torn up chip seal or asphalt or whatever they have. And it's worse than if 18 wheeler been out there. But the problem becomes law enforcement. And if the commissioner's court is not willing to right now consider an emergency expenditure because of the destruction of these roads, to increase the number of law enforcement personnel from the sheriff's department, and all we're doing is just blowing smoke and hot air. It's not, to you it's not an emergency. To me it is. I live down there. I watch what they do every day. So it needs to become an emergency for the commissioner's court in order to do something positive for all the people who live on these county roads, because without any control out there, these drivers are going to do what they're going to do. You're not going to stop them. I'm not going to stop them. I have stopped them. Then I had the sheriff's department tell me that they want to give me a ticket, and that isn't going to happen. I've stopped them on those roads because there's no patrols out there. I can count on one hand in the last 5 years The number of times I've seen a deputy's car on County Road 330, it's less than 5 miles from here. A lot of these people live further out than I do. It's 5 years, and counting one year. Any questions? I would like the Commissioner Court to consider convening an emergency session for an emergency amendment to the budget for at least 8 additional deputies and equipment.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
What are you recommending for the speed limit on that road? I didn't catch it.
It's already posted, our road, County Road 330 is already posted 35 miles an hour, but you can't go down it.
I'm asking, what are you recommending that we set legal? Right now, it's not legally set in church.
There is a sign on.
I realize that. The legal
That
limit
sign
right
is
now-
not legal.
I'm asking, what do you recommend to the court we set?
On our road, 30. But right now, you can't do 30 miles an hour.
I just need to know.
Yeah. I come in here after I got off work, so I'm not representing the people I was. Tommy shocked me. And I'm here to talk about this road speed limit. Now, I can sympathize with a lot of people out here. I drive a truck down those roads. I get paid by the hour and not by the load. A lot of guys do get paid by the load. Those roads, I'm not, preaching to the choir here, y'all know that. That bridge out there on 326, somebody lost their front end, guy hit it the other night. That real narrow bridge. I don't know if he got hurt or not, I don't imagine he did, but I sure hope they widen that bridge when y'all do that road. I'm on County Road 182, and that's why I'm here. That speed limit sign that's been knocked down over against Mr. Menchaca's fence there has been there for almost 2 years. 182. Speed limit sign said at 35 on both ends of that road that connects 626 to 72. It's number 3 on the list that y'all have here listed for proposed of being work done on. Okay? I'd like to see it at 25. I'd like to see County Road 182 at 25. There's County Road 359 out there that's at 15. I don't know if they made the sign or who made the sign, but it's at 15. They water that road because the oil company pays for it. So, all these roads, I would think all you would have to do is just press the issue and let some of this oil money pay for keeping the dust down on these roads for everybody. These roads, a lot of chuck holes. You can't do the speed limit, Everybody's been saying that, and that's the truth. One of these days, maybe they'll get better, but right now, nobody's sending the check back. They're all taking the money. County included. Well, what about the school bus stop signs and the stuff like that on the roads for everybody? I got grandkids there on my place. School bus stops there. Can the county put a school bus stop sign there that says, you know what I'm saying? Can that be done legally?
That's what the school bus, we can identify school bus stops.
Okay. Next one, it's gonna sound kind of out in left field, but what about, animals? I got a deaf dog and a blind dog. No joke. I keep them in by an underground wire, underground fence, hot wire. That's what works for me most of the time. But, there's other people out there got animals special to them if they don't want, it's up to the individual to keep up with their animals. I understand that. Slow these trucks down. You ought to ask for 8. I can't put a number to it. All I can say is I think that things need to be increased. Because what you're doing is putting fingers in holes and it's just leaking sieve. So, that sign, by the way, is on the side of the road there by the fence line. And they've come out and shredded that place. The but on the county road where I live at, they shredded it twice that I know of. The sign ain't been picked up yet. Somebody hit it, broke it over, and laid it, Mr. Manchaca laid it over there by his fence, so, you know, maybe somebody would see it. But, I don't know what y'all can do with these, you know, these oil companies. I know they're helping out a lot. They have, and that's good. But I think there's still a little bit more room for it. So, and if a truck driver gets caught, then he ought to have to pay the ticket. I don't have a problem with that either. But 25 on County Road 182, and that's a long shot. I got J.C. Fodell across the road from me. And
How long is that road?
well, I know my gate's right out a mile from 72, and to the water tower it's a total of 3 miles. Yeah. Oh, 626.
I'm just saying, you walk
I like that.
the whole 3 miles.
Well, I think that in front of at least the houses, there's a stretch there where that high fence is there, where there's no houses, there's not anything. But when you change the speed limit, you know, if that's what's going to work, if that helps, that's great. But, you know, I don't know what the answer is as far as changing the speed limit from one area to another. I think we're going to have hard enough time as it is getting it, you know, getting them to follow it to begin with.
So you figure 25 all the way to the 3 miles?
There was a big belt running through there about 50, 55 miles an hour, going up to LSO water tires on a regular basis when they were selling water out of those tires. He raced up there, he was empty. When he come down the hill, he's loaded. And, yeah, that happens everywhere.
Plus, they use that road to cut across.
That road is known by the truck drivers as a cut through because of the way the scale house is, where its location is. And when DOT's around here, and I'm glad they're here, I'd like to see them more. But I'm glad to see them here. I'm glad to see that DOT people keeps everybody in check. That's what needs to be done. So if y'all can, you know, I'd like to see the county hire. They had a real good individual here working. But, you know, for whatever reasons, he's no longer here. But at the end of the day, you need people in that hub, and that thing needs to stay open. Whether it's civilians hired by the state, you know, the county put a lot of money in it. And I think, you know, they ought to put it in the budget and have deputies trained for it. So, that's enough on my soapbox. Appreciate your time. One question, though. What happened to Miss Shaw? Why is she not here?
She just informed me that she wasn't going to be able to be here today.
No
I told
specific
her-
reason?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
I
I
just told her I would
curious.
take it over.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yes, sir.
I do have one other recommendation. These drivers all work for either a tank company, or they work for either hauling gravel, a drilling site, or they work for one of the oil companies. If a citizen out here in the county, on a county road, takes some time out of their day, to chase down a truck because the driver will get a license number, and they call into the sheriff's department, that they observed an individual speeding down the road, or cutting them off, or whatever. Now, I know that these oil companies and the tank companies, Spring Vacuum Service, go back, all those guys have safety, and I'm sure they tell their drivers to slow down and keep it down. But that's not going to happen to the driver because they know there's no punishment. But if a citizen is taking the time out of their day to go in and try to get a license, and a tank number, a trailer number, whatever, and reports to the sheriff's department, I think that those companies should get a letter from the county with a fine of about $1,500 a pop, not including getting whatever the driver gets. Then the oil company will start leaning on these drivers and making them get slow. But if it costs them money, $1,500, $2,000, every time one of their trucks are reported, I think they'll get the message.
I don't think legally a citizen can do that because if Joe doesn't like Frank and Frank's driving the truck and Joe sees it, he just, you know, he can just nail him like.
For us to make that determination, it is not, that's not our charge.
I understand.
But it is a
We
good
need to, we
idea.
need to start thinking about protecting the citizens out there and not worry about this desk that you guys are sitting on. And all lawyers do is screw things up. That includes county attorneys, because that's what they do, they're lawyers. You know, we don't need to turn this into mini Washington DC. We need to do the right thing. And that's the tack I think that the commission court needs to start taking, to start doing the right thing, and start, instead of doing the political thing.
Thank you, Mr. Yardley. You got something?
Dwayne, Robert, y'all want to make a comment? Because y'all been kind of stressed to hear that y'all don't have enough people, y'all aren't going out there. Can y'all want to say something to the public or whatever what y'all's plans are or whatever's going on?
Well, Commissioner Dudek, as far as I know,
Come on up here.
Speak a little louder, we can't hear anybody. Where's the microphone?
as far as I know, that every day we get calls from citizens advising that, you know, we have reckless drivers here and there, with the 18-wheelers and, oil field. I know we have deputies out there most of the time. They're out there. Thing is, I know sometimes we can't be everywhere, but we try our best to the deputies that we have to be out there in the area. What we're facing a lot now these days is the accidents. When we have accidents, it takes all our manpower plus us to be out there. Prime example, Saturday, we had 239 shut down and 181. We have 4 deputies that shift with us. We call DPS, and the highway department will assist us sometimes in rerouting traffic. And the thing about it is that if they're going to be at an intersection helping us, they have to have a deputy there. So, and we have an accident, we have these both highways shut down. If we have another call, a disturbance, and we have to kind of get the deputies that are already busy to make that location. And that's what we're facing right now. Is the call volume is so high, and it's not all the time, but when it is, we do not have enough deputies on shift to cover all the calls.
And just so y'all know, we currently have 18 patrol deputies that patrol the county and the county roads. We're at full staff right now. We have 2 dedicated deputies that work nothing but traffic. And you're going to see a report in a little bit that we have to file annually on how many tickets the county writes every year. Our inability to write tickets on the county roads have really hampered us doing our jobs, because currently, as Ronnie was talking about, we can go up and down the county roads all day long and write warning tickets, and we do that. But as well as the rest of us do, if you don't get in somebody's a ticket, it's usually not an attention getter. We can chew them verbally or write them a warning and they throw it in the trash and drive off. So the purpose of this hearing is to help us do our job. All the speed limit signs that you see currently on the county roads, they're illegal. We can't write anybody a ticket right now. And the public figures that out, and these truck drivers figure that out. So setting an actual speed limit by the court, giving us the authority to do our job, is going to greatly help us. And we wrote over 1,300 citations in 12 months. That's all the highways and a lot of the other areas, but we need to write just as many numbers on the county roads. So hopefully this will get passed and we can reduce these speed limits and start writing tickets. And what we do is the 2 deputies that are assigned to writing tickets all day long, we put them in different areas of the county. We get calls, we make a priority list, and that's how we work it. And I know you guys are hurt, I can see it every day. But just so you know, all of our people are out there, but we need the ability to do our job. But like I said, currently we have 18 people that are patrolling. There's lots of county roads. So I don't know, Ronnie can say how many square miles of county roads there are.
547 linear miles.
Okay. So that's a lot of county roads. So 18 people covering that many county roads plus all the accidents. I don't know if y'all saw in the news the last couple of days about the oil spill out here. Where a truck went and dumped crude oil all down 81, 1144. We had to station 3 deputies there. It takes it off our shift. So, we have to prioritize where it goes. Over the weekend, we had 4 accidents going at the same time. 4 major highways closed at the same time. We have to post people at all those. So, it just takes away. And I'm not making excuses. I'll just tell you how we prioritize our schedule. And I know the county roads need more attention, and we plan on doing that if we can get some more help.
And one more thing I want to bring to y'all's attention. Have y'all noticed we have all these traffic lights that were put up now in Karnes County? Before, the highway department, if for some reason we lost power, they would go out there and put stop signs. They could no longer do that. It's going to take a deputy to stand there to work traffic. And we experienced that last week when we lost power in Kennedy. And thank God, I mean, one thing, we put a deputy in the intersection, and we just got the cars to slow down and take turns to go. But we're going to run into that problem a lot lately. And once the bad weather starts, I mean, they cannot go out there and put stop signs. It has to be taken off.
And one more thing, just to bring to y'all's attention, whether you're aware of this or not, but we have 6 DPS trooper openings in this county. We're short DPS, 6 officers right now. The total in the 3-county region, DPS is having the same trouble as the county, everybody else in law enforcement. Our deputies, we hire 2 more quit and go to the oil field. When the county pays $36,000 or $37,000 a year for a deputy, who are you going to get to work? They go to all these bigger departments. So we train them. The 3 we just hired, as Commissioner Dutton said, we train them. They find a better opportunity in the oil field or whatever, they go home. But just so y'all know, you don't see a lot of black and whites out on the road. Why? Because they have 6 openings right now in the 3-county area. They can't get anybody to come to Karnes County and work for the price the state pays. So that has a lot to do with it also. So whenever the wrecks happen on the highways, county roads and all that, we have to respond with deputies because there's nobody else. Yes, sir.
So, this is a yes or no question. Will another 8 or 10 deputies help you or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My opinion, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Well, we need a dedicated traffic unit is what we do. And like I said, the sheriff has established 2 guys right now. But if we hired another whatever number the commissioners decide and dedicate them just to working traffic, like a traffic unit like they do in San Antonio and some of these other towns, have them go out there and spend 8 hours a day writing tickets. And that would definitely send a message, and have some of them dedicated to county roads and some to the other areas. And that's what needs to be done. And I'm just offering that as a suggestion. Like I said, we have 2 people. I don't know if y'all see that purple Dodge Charger running up and down Dell Road, stopping everybody. That's all he does all day long, is working county roads and stopping people. So anyway, then we have a 2nd unit also that does that. But that's what needs to be done by, 6 or 8 patrol cars, dedicate them just and establish a traffic unit. The only other side of that scenario is we need to get the speed limit posted and have those signs up to date so we can do our job. And I don't know if there's a budget item for posting signs, but it's very expensive. I know we have our own sign department, but it's expensive. Yes, ma'am, did you have a question?
Well, my confusion is, you just made the comment, I thought I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, but that the current signs on the county roads are not legal?
Absolutely not.
And
They're
you
not
cannot give a
legal.
ticket?
You cannot.
How'd they get up there?
That was done before my time, but then we have a list in our office where the commissioners had posted that, but without a public hearing, I don't know, if I'm correct, I don't think a public hearing was done when they established those speed limits, and that way, it's against the law, we can't enforce that.
Ms. Hansel, somebody before would call the road and bridge people and say, hey, I want to slow people down my road, so they go stick out a road sign without any rhyme or reason for posting a sign, and it's without the commissioner's court's approval.
And just so you know, like Mr. Yasko said earlier, he put up 25 miles an hour, they can run 60 by there, and you can't enforce that, just so you know that. But that's the way the law is, actually. You have to follow statute in order to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, if you all have your decision, the commissioners make up their minds to do this change for the signs and the road folk can get it together, why is that so difficult? Why can't you just decide it and do it?
I think this is a public hearing. I don't think it's set up for action. I think they can do that, but today is just to get the citizens' comments.
Well, how long will it take now after this public hearing for the decision to be made?
If I understand the transportation code correctly, we're required to do this in steps. Today is the first step. We have to have this public hearing. Our next step, the Commissioner's Court by order can come in and sign an order establishing that speed limit. The 3rd step is it has to be posted. Before he can write someone a ticket, a sign has to be on that road.
Okay, how long does that take?
At the next Commissioner's Court meeting, Mr. Adcock and I will have the order ready.
And after that, how long?
Mr. Wozniak and his crew will start putting them up.
Yeah, we can start enforcing. As soon as they pass an order, the signs go up, we can start writing tickets on them.
Well, I mean, it's such a simple thing to do. Why isn't it, why can't it
That's
be
why we're
done?
here this morning.
So we
You have to follow the law, not to
At
interrupt
the
you.
next commissioners meeting, everything will be put in place?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but the issue is, we're looking at on the two, every one of the signs, get the
Well,
guys to put them up.
Start one at a time.
That's what we're doing. That's great.
Does anybody else have any questions, or yes, sir?
I think, if you look at the transportation code, once the commission court has passed the countywide speed limit, all it has to be before the signs go up, if they post a notice in the newspaper, I think 2 consecutive issues or whatever the requirements are for the newspaper, that becomes law in the county, whether there's a sign there or not.
The transportation code says you have to post to make the public aware, Mr. Yarder, and that's what it.
But then you can put your sign there and you can still enforce it without a sign.
I agree. You just have to make sure the public is notified of it, so get in the paper. Yes, sir.
This is what, y'all are gonna have the next meeting at the end of the month.
Yes, sir.
Can you do it then?
Yes.
Okay, so that answers her question.
So that'll be sometime in April, and then the next time, when the road and bridge can put up those signs, they can
They
help
don't
control
need the
it.
signs, you just have to post it in the newspaper.
Well, that's what Mr. Yarder said, right?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't read the newspaper and everything else, and I know what it is. I mean, I'm talking about just about a sense of fairness. You can put it in the paper and you can start enforcing it, we'll be glad to do that, but it's nice to do it as you put it along too. You know, we gotta also play fair, everybody, as far as the law goes,
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Since you're going to be out there on the roads, on the county roads, and talking about putting up the signs, would it be possible to have some kind of signs also about, and y'all could be enforcing those laws also on like no dumping? Because we've been working on this trash issue for
Absolutely.
2 years and nothing's gone.
In the last 5 months since I've been back in the county, we've had, I don't know how many calls on trash dumping. The commissioners call us all the time, and I send the deputies out there. We physically dig through all the garbage, just so y'all know that, see if we can find any evidence where we can trail it back to whoever dumped it there. And we've been finding everything. We thought we had a dead body this last week. There was a blanket actually rolled up. Somebody actually rolled a feral hog up in a blanket and dumped it on the side of the road. And see, we get all kinds of things. So just so y'all know, every time you call the sheriff's office, we send someone out. And we actually physically go through the garbage, and then if we can't find who dumped it, we contact the commissioner and let them see they can get somebody to clean it up. Whether it's a road and bridge or send a loader out or whatever. So we work hand in hand with the commissioner for whoever's precinct that is.
So would that also be like on?
Absolutely, you can put a sign, if the court authorizes it, you can put a no trash dumping sign on that.
On littering as well, though, I mean.
I'm sorry?
Would y'all be able to like enforce the
Absolutely.
issue of like on littering?
Absolutely, and also we had just received some money recently for equipment. I think somebody was asking what we bought. We had bought some cameras that we can put actually a IP camera there. So we can actually put that in a dump site, and like the game warden does for hunting now. He puts out cameras to see who people hunt. We do the same thing we can do for trash. That way we can see who's dumping. So
Do we
I
have
don't
a
want
citation fee for that if you were to find the person that did it? Do we have a set citation fee?
There's a state law. There's a state law that does with litter abatement or trash. It's already set. The JPs know that. If you write a ticket, file in JP court. I'm sorry?
The fee is 10 to 200.
Marilyn?
You were saying we're short 6 black and whites. How many more deputies and that would we need with all of the increase of people to help y'all go forward with this, with tickets and that? Because I know you're saying 6 black and whites, but what about the?
I mean, like I said, we probably can start with the 6 and the deputies, 6 to 8 deputies, and see where we'll set up like everybody will be like a different zone or different precinct, and we'll set them up a different.
Well, I know something needs to be done because even 18-wheelers are running red lights.
We are stretched to the limit right now with 18 deputies. I can tell you that, right? Trying to cover it 24 hours a day. And I don't know if y'all have noticed, but it hasn't lit up. I mean, it used to be where it would come in spurts, where you would have your stuff, but it hasn't lit up. We have all night long. It seems like our worst time is between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. in the morning. Because of all the wrecks we have, that seems to be stretches right there. We have to put extra people on between 5 a.m. and 9 because of multiple wrecks at the same time. They have one DPS trooper covering 3 counties. And if he's in Goliad, and they have an accident there, we have to respond. And the same way they come out of Wilson, Karnes, or Goliad, and they'd have one trooper on call. Look how many miles of highway there are in Wilson and Goliad also. And today you see all these black and whites here because the weight guys are all here today. You go up and down 181 right now, you're going to see a black Tahoe, black and white Tahoe sitting everywhere. So they come here like 2 or 3 times. They're weight guys among working trucks. But it'd be nice to have somebody here full time.
And you know, I talked to the DPS captain out of Corpus. This sounds bad, but he says you hardly have a trooper that wants to come to Karnes County because they don't want to work all the wrecks that we have. They said that all the wrecks after a while ends up being an emotional toll on them as well because of the fatalities and other things. He himself in Corpus right now with the license and weight is short 6 to 8 troopers himself because they can't afford to pay them what the oil field industry is paying.
I'd like to ask the Commissioner Court, are you going to, with somebody on this Commissioner Court, have on the next agenda about hiring additional deputies and funding them as an emergency amendment? Because they can't continue to operate, and these county roads, I think Tracy can attest to this, are becoming an emergency.
I'll put it on the next, Mr. Yard, I'll put it on the next one, but I want to say one thing too. Remember at the last budget hearing, we wanted to hire a lot more, and we were told no.
Well, I think it could be brought up, I mean, it's turned into,
But I'll put it on the next meeting.
we're at an emergency now, but it could turn into a crisis, a hot set. And if the people would show up for a public meeting just like this one, to either support or not support additional deputies, and then the commission court decides to do whatever they want to do, and then put it on the following agenda for discussion and approval or not. But I think that the citizens of this county that live in the county deserve, for lack of better terms, some more respect from the commissioner's court, because 90% of the funding or more that's coming in from the oil boom in this county comes from people living in the county. It doesn't come from people living in the city. They've got their police forces. But people out in the county, I mean, that oil's coming off their property. And we get our oil revenue off of that. And they deserve something from the county commissioner's court. And they're basically not getting much.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to say that I appreciate what our officers are doing in the county. I've seen them out on Highway 80 where I live, and they do an excellent job, and I think we should do whatever we can to support them to get more people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert, Dwayne, do y'all have an adequate employment pool to be able to hire additional staff?
It's been a challenge. We just filled the last 3 positions we had, and what we do is we work with Alamo Area Council of Governments, the ACOG people in San Antonio, to get, we've had trouble, we get some experienced officers and some right out of the academy. And so here recently, we've had to hire 3 out of the academy and train them. We have an FTO program, which is a field training officer program, where we put that recruit with somebody for 90 days, put them all through the motions, see how they're going to operate and everything before we turn them loose. So we train them. But to answer your question, I think we could, if we continue to work with the ACOG folks and
I just want everybody to be aware, even if court funds additional positions, that doesn't mean they're going to be out on the street tomorrow.
Absolutely, it's been a challenge, but like I said, we're up to full staff now, but it's been a challenge. And hopefully we can work with commissioners for this coming budget, maybe we can get some of that stuff fixed. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
We're still in the public hearing. Any other public comment?
I have a question for the Road Department. Do they have a number on approximately what the cost is going to be to not only reduce the signs, but
I haven't done a cost analysis on it because we don't know at this early stage how many signs we're going to have to do. It depends on how many variations we have, whether we go with 30-20, if we start adopting some 25s. So we can probably have general cost at the next meeting, couldn't we, Donnie?
Yeah, because what it is an average sign runs about $50 to $60. That's just a sign, that's not the poster or anything. And we've got to follow the MTBC manual, in which it's gonna have breakaways. You don't put them in concrete, because you know what that post bending and go through a windshield. We go through the same safety procedures that textile does. So by the time we buy the post and the sign, we might be looking at $150 a sign.
And that doesn't include that.
No, that's not manpower, that's just the sign and the breakaway post. That doesn't have nothing to do with manpower. And manpower is something that, again, is another issue.
James, I would like, just to wrap things up, to ask, I really appreciate everyone's input, and I've been making notes as you're putting your information forward. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Is there any other roads that anyone wants me to look at more carefully? Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
What was it?
Thank you, James. I appreciate it. Sure.
Are we done? No other comments, questions?
That 1.2,
Mike?
was that a 25-mile reduction or what was it?
There are no signs currently posted there.
Are you looking to reduce or just add?
Reduce it.
To what?
I think 30 would be fine.
Okay.
Okay. So
It'll be in our list.
Yes.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, we're gonna go ahead and got item number 8, public hearing at 9:56 a.m., Tuesday, March 11, 2014. Thank you very much. Sure, y'all wanna do number 16, so we can go ahead and keep on going. All right, our commissioner's request, we're gonna go ahead and jump to item number 16. Discuss, consider action, County Road 362, residents in the area of County Road 362 state that the street was named Door Street or a private road. The county, after or on about 9/11/2011, named it County Road 362. The road is not in the city limits of Karnes City. Due to the possibility of future construction of a gas station that will be able to fuel large trucks, resident wishes to restrict truck traffic and entrance of County Road 362/Door Street. Arthur Lee.
All right, the Biela family called me one day and they were voicing concerns about the County Road 362. Said that there's a little road that runs between their house and Mr. Koski's house. At one time it was known as Door Street, and then the county turned around and made it 362, County Road 362. I looked on the Google map, and Google map shows it to be Door Street. I looked on the Bing map, it shows it to be County Road 362. I looked on the ACOG map, ACOG shows it to be 362. I talked with the city, Mr. Timrack, and the other day, and he also says that they recognize it as Door Street. Is that correct, Don?
That's correct.
And the main concerns is that, as they say here, that there's going to be some entrances coming from that proposed station that'll be coming on Highway 80. And from that, if I understand it, it'll be probably truck entrances coming in and out, and they want to reduce that traffic. Also, they stated that the family, there's some kids in that area will always play on that county road, so they consider that to be a hazard to the kids as well. And so Marilyn, you got anything else, or whoever?
My daughter is speaking for Cindy.
Hi, I'm Cindy Gilla Moses. I grew up here. We would like, as you just previously said, to discuss this road.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me? We don't have one. We don't have one.
We can't afford it.
Okay.
No, it's supposed to be on order, like supposed to have been here already, but.
Let me see if my nerdly voice will work here. Okay, I think Mr. Duknick did the logistics about the history. It was always Doris Street. It's always a dirt road, a little narrow dirt road in between my parents' house and Mrs. Huskey's house. We as kids played on it all the time. There are still kids playing on it all the time. My children and my brother's children, who still have small kids, and they play basketball. My parents have a basketball goal right there. The ball always gets out of control and rolls down into the street. And who's going to control that? Well, I guess no one would be playing basketball anymore because of the dangerous hazardous situation that this station is going to put by my parents' house. Anyway, Homeland Security required back after 9/11 that all roads have a description, whether it is a number, whether it's a name, some kind of description. It's always Doris Street, but never a signpost. I don't know who took it upon themselves to change it to County Road 362. But some people have looked in the courthouse, and there has been no record that this road has been made a county road. So I don't, you might want to take some time and development to check that, but there is no record that this road was ever made a county road. So again, just because it has a street sign on it, the characteristics of the road does not change. If somebody says it's a county road, does not necessarily mean that road is a county road. A sign does not change the characteristics of the road. And I like to keep emphasizing that because everybody seems to think it's a county road. There's nothing posted in the courthouse stating that it's a county road.
A lot of those roads that have been used a long time like that, they're rolled by prescription. But you checked and there's no dedicated easement on that road from either party?
I did not personally check, we had other people.
I came in in 2000 as a county commissioner, and that road, from what I know of, we've always maintained it.
Well, that might have been an error on y'all's part.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's never been posted, reported as a county road. And I know Mr. Turner, when he owned property, I don't know if he's here today, but when he owned property down that Doris Street Road, he would shred. So, he's not part of the county. It's just not a road.
You're saying that road actually was a private road at some
time?
time?
It was, it still is. There has not been any change of characteristics of that road by the street sign.
Good question. Okay, use that for access to the property.
Exactly.
Okay, so.
That's why it's a private
So
road.
my description, as he says, if it was sold to them and that was their access to it, it has become a public road. So. By the laws, if they have property, they have to have a way to get to it.
Exactly.
And so that's what
It's a
we
private
use
road for people to go back and do use, not for the general public to come down the road and use it.
If their deed has an easement to it, that's,
But it's not a city road and it's not a county road.
I don't know what the laws are, I don't know exactly, I can't state it, but I do know that people have to have access to their property.
It can be done with an easement. I mean, that can be done with an easement. There's no place to go on that.
I don't know how, I don't know where.
Right, and you shouldn't be saying law if you don't know.
I'm just saying, I don't know. But ACOG required it to have a number and a name.
Well, it
That's why
had a
became
name,
county.
Doris.
ACOG required it to get to those residents. That's why it became.
Exactly.
Do y'all- I'm sorry, do y'all know when the county started maintaining that road or started doing anything to it?
As an owner of property in there, no one has come forward to us.
I'm sorry?
As an owner of property in that area, no one has ever said anything to us about the county road or any kind of road.
I'm sorry, Anderson had her hand up for a while, ma'am. Oh.
Hi, my name is Jamie Liao. I'm the 911 advocacy coordinator. I just took over, and I was speaking to the former coordinator, and she informed me back in 2008 the commissioners adopted the road and commission book, and in that book, it's County Road 362 in 2008. I can make copies and show you guys. I didn't bring it with me today, though.
Well, let me express, the county can't just adopt a road without legal documentation. There's a thing called a deed, and if the deed is still in their name, then it is a private road. it can't just be adopted by the county unless the county has either purchased it or unless the people had given it willingly to the county. There's some legal issue there. They can't just say, you know, we're calling it 362, it's our road.
I talked to Kevin with the city, and they're in the process of taking that street in, and it's gonna revert back to the Doris Street.
When did that happen?
Let me rephrase that, because Kevin is speaking a bit out of turn. The council is looking at annexation all around the city, and the council hasn't taken any action on that. All Kevin is doing is he's identifying the properties so that we know who the owners are. In that particular area, the Doris Street has two, what we believe to be two platted areas. I believe it's Hall subdivision, and the other is named after,
Donna Heights?
excuse me?
Is it Donna Heights?
Yes, Donna Heights, yes.
Since that's my mother.
Okay, yes, I'm just trying, and that, what he has been doing is to identify that in the event that those would qualify to be annexed. Again, that's kind of contingent upon what takes place with the development from CST, which is the gas station you mentioned on your agenda.
Was this identification as a county road done back in, I guess, 2008, when the notification was sent out and the tax statements of all the county
People had
roads
to come and talk about it.
supposed to come forward and discuss?
Yes, that's what it was done. Oh, I guess that's maybe something. There was notification sent out with all the tax statements to go, if anybody had anything to say about the roads that we were gonna.
No, they apparently missed a few people.
It did not. It did not come to us.
It did not come.
And I have lived there 50 years, and I never got a notice.
And we own a lot, extra lot.
It was
in
not
that.
in there.
We still own a lot in that area.
Yes, ma'am.
Which someone has been there and tied orange strings all around the whole business.
On your property?
On our property. They did not ask to come on it or any of that stuff.
And that was who? Was that?
That was David Casanova, civil engineer out of San Antonio. I talked to him yesterday.
He's the one that did that?
And he
But
said.
he's working for,
He's working for Corner Store. I
What
have
hours?
yet to get in touch with Todd Stubblefield, who is the CEO for Corner Store. You know, they don't return your calls. But he told me, this David Casanova told me, well, I tied those strings around those trees because we're checking to see whether or not our drainage is gonna go onto your land or your drainage is gonna go onto our land. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
How does that work?
And then I said, well, you know, why did you go there? Well, your property's not gonna be involved. We're not gonna involve your property. Which, if you look at the map that they sent out, yeah, it's gonna.
Just for clarification, James, CST is a spinoff from Valero Energy Corporation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we found that out.
It's actually CST, not Valero.
okay.
It's not Valero. But the whole thing is these guys have come in and they've done a survey, and apparently, from what the indications are, we don't know for a fact, they have contacted the road department, and nobody said anything to anybody, except they're trying to get Miss Biella to leave her home and Miss Ortowski to leave her home, so they can put this huge double driveway in there. Off of Highway 8.
Off of Doris Street, 300 feet off of Doris Street.
For the driver.
For the driveway, in and out, plus 4 others where it shows on the map.
That's why the map is wrong, we ought to see what is proposed.
And we just want to know if anybody in the county is aware of what's going on and if they really care.
But as you see,
Because we've been paying taxes on it.
yeah, as y'all are looking, y'all all have this, and we've heard so much about how dangerous and how many accidents. That's an extremely dangerous.
Let Cindy continue.
As y'all know, we have heard the 2 officers here talk about accidents in Karnes County. The intersection of Highway 80 and Highway 123 is a very dangerous intersection. It's extremely dangerous. Since that traffic light has been put up, 18-wheelers have ran that traffic light right and left. Not just one, but 2 or 3 right after each other, running the red light. It's dangerous, extremely dangerous. Have anybody observed that? Have anybody has been out there looking at that situation? I mean, that's extremely dangerous. You have traffic backed up to Frank Kruschek. I don't know, my mom had to tell me where Frank Kruschek's place is. That's the Justice place. That's way down Highway 80. There's 18-wheelers turning left onto Highway 80 from 123. They take the corner too sharp. And there, people are trying to back up from the red light because they don't want to get hit. It's an extremely dangerous situation. There's a town border station on the corner there, and that supplies natural gas to Karnes County. Because it's there, the probability, well, first of all, because it's there and the area is now considered a dangerous intersection, the probability that something will happen to that station has increased. And then you put a corner store on top of that with more traffic, the probability of an accident involving that town border station is even more higher, or it's even higher. You know, all it takes is an accident and a spark in that border station. And then you have gas stations that get gas to full fuel the explosion. It's a dangerous situation. I don't know how many times I can say it's dangerous to make y'all think that it's dangerous. My dad has worked for a natural gas company for over 30 years, or excuse me, Dad, under 30 years before he retired. He can tell you stories about blowouts. And these blowouts are normally in rural areas and not where there's houses or situations. But this one will be where the homes are, not in a rural area.
Before somebody gets to the station where they can cut the valves off, it's probably take like maybe 2 or 3 hours before a person can get there. It'd be burning all the time, and melting. There'd be lots of gas coming out of a 6-inch pipe, and it's hot. It's not to fool around with.
And there's school buses going down what we call Door Street. And to have 18-wheelers trying to pull into Door Street to get to this cornerstone, and you have school buses with kids, that's a dangerous situation. You know, there's going to be so much more traffic. I tell you what, I don't know if you recall what happened to the Gillies, but I can see that incident happening again. I can see, how many times have you been driving and you're daydreaming, or you're thinking about something else, and then you look down, oh, I need gas. And with that gas station sitting right there, not realizing there's 5 big trucks behind you, you slam on your brakes because you want to make that entrance. Big 18-wheeler slams right into you because that green light is green, and he's counting the seconds, how many more seconds is that light going to stay green so I can make it. Not realizing that she put on her brakes to make that turn into the corner store. That 18-wheeler hits that car, the one behind it hits the 18-wheeler, the next one runs into the town border station, the 4th one hits the bus on Aurora Street, and the 5th one runs into my parents' house. That is reliving the Gillis incident when HEB ran right into their home in Cleveland. I don't want to be one of those kids getting a phone call saying your parents are dead.
So, Cindy, what are you asking the county, of the county?
Well, I want y'all to reconsider this. This cornerstone plus this road to me is a private road, except for this 2008 where they think that they slid everything through. It's still a private road. It should be controlled by the owners. The road shouldn't be controlled, didn't make a big entrance for this corner store. This corner store is not safe for the general public in Karnes County, where it's at, where they're proposing it to be. Apparently, it wasn't safe to be on the other side of the road, that the city turned it down. And then they figured they could move it on the other side of the road, where a town border station, children are running back and forth. It's just not safe. There might be a better place in Karnes County to put it, but that area is not safe. You have a dangerous intersection. You have a gas station, a natural gas station that supplies gas to Karnes County, sitting right there. And then, along with the dangerous intersection. You know, I think y'all need to look, you know, our parents taught me, I'm sure they taught y'all, 2 important lessons in life that you should live by. And that is you should treat your neighbors as you want them to be treated. And you should love your neighbors. And, you know, I don't think anybody would like to live in that situation where there's a town border station, a big station. It wasn't, at first my parents thought it was a small station, but it's not a small station. It's a huge station. You know, right beside them. It's a huge station. Not only, I mean, it also, you know, y'all need to think about that. What type of pollution is it going to present in Karnes County? You know, there's a lot of noise, there's light pollution, there's trash pollution. There's also going to be more crime. We're already short sheriff department. You know, I don't understand. Yeah, Karnes City, we like to grow. People like to see Karnes City grow, but not at the gas station. You know, come on, can y'all name how many gas stations that were on Highway 123 that are no longer there? There are 7, I can name right now, 7 gas stations that are no longer there. Gas stations do not survive on Highway 123. History will tell us that. I mean, there was Dan Kessler's golf station right at the corner from where they want to put this. That didn't survive. There was Chevron. There was a Rhodes Exxon that later became a Morris, or vice versa. 7-Eleven, Bob's Quick Stop. Dietz's had 2 stations. And then there was a mobile station that was once owned by Joe Tice. My grandfather owned it at one time, Mr. Bunyan. Karnes City, people don't come to Karnes City to buy gas. 123 doesn't go anywhere but Highway 181 and Highway 80. People don't come to Karnes City to buy gas. People fill up in Karnes City, or do they fill up in the surrounding neighborhoods, towns that have cheaper gas? You know, Karnes City shouldn't be known for a gas station. Shouldn't be known to bring people in because gas prices are too high in Karnes City. I just don't understand why y'all think that's a great fit for Karnes County and why it's a great fit for the neighborhood with that dangerous intersection and with that private road that's not big enough and that would cause harm.
I'm just wondering, the place that she's talking about, my name is Carol Hernandez, and I'm the neighbors to Marilyn and Fabian Biella on the auction site. This store that they're talking about going up there, is this the same one that they were talking about putting on the old hospital hill? Yes. Or where the old hospital was?
Yes.
Okay, so why was it turned down there, and now it's proposed here? What caused it to get?
You can ask, you got the city people right there, they might know that reason.
There was a decision by CST not to place their unit there. And I'm sure it had to do with their ingress and egress and textile controls, the entry and exit points.
So was that, did they choose that and then they realized it wasn't going to work for them? So then they moved, now they chose another place? I'm just trying to figure out how it went from point A now to over here. Just so I understand.
They were dealing with the realtor from Kennedy on the property. And then they made the decision themselves not to locate there, but for an alternate site.
So is nobody from the city or no townspeople or anything said, no, we don't want it built there
No,
because of the noise?
It was clear we would prefer them in a different location. But it's
Why?
their choice.
Because it was a noise factor there? Wouldn't it be a noise factor
It
where
was,
we all live on like 80?
There was another location that already operates as a convenience store. And it presented to us a better opportunity for them because it was larger. Their idea of a corner store and our idea of a corner store, we thought were the same thing. But again, they also do cater to truck traffic. And that's their decision. We have no ordinance against it.
Well, it just seems like you're coming from this area where this old hospital is, and if you do the math on how big that is, and then you do what they want to build now, that's a pretty big difference of a piece of land. So that's why I'm just trying to figure out from how to change.
And you have to get that from CST. I mean, that's not a city decision.
Y'all think she's done? It's y'all already
The city limit is right across the street, and I just heard
Mr.
Don
Shamrock is proposing that if this thing goes through, they're gonna annex the whole thing.
Herb, could you research this area and see if find the legal description of this road, actually who owns it, and if it is a private, if the county did for some reason somehow take legal, I guess, ownership of that road, of the easement for that road, if we did, can they not go ahead and petition the county to close that road, and then it'll be another issue later on with the city probably if they decide to put the
If
station there.
it's a private road, please explain to me why a petition needs to be made from the county to
If
close it.
if it's not a private road,
Oh, if it's not.
if it's not, you know, if the county actually has it listed as a county road, we would have to, I guess, give it back to y'all, and then y'all would close it or whatever.
And one thing about that road, I live up there,
I know.
and the Garcias live up there. That's our only way out, in or out. And, I mean, if they have more traffic right now, I mean, I have been known to come off of Highway 123 to get onto 80, try to turn onto my road real fast, have an 18-wheeler on my back and have to drive all the way to the auction lane to turn around. If there's going to be more traffic, there are going to be so many like me who are going to get run over from behind.
At the same time, you'll be late for work.
Well, right now, I leave 20 minutes to 8. I work at the Karnes City School Tax Office, which takes me about 2 minutes to get there, and I have to leave my house at 20 minutes to 8 just to get to work on time. The light has helped tremendously, don't get me wrong, but it's still a scary situation. And I sit at my mailbox also, forever, trying to get my mail, get home for lunch, and still get back to work. So it's already a nightmare.
Is the gas station going to help your situation?
Oh, no, not at all.
Another contributing factor to all this is we own property there, but we also own property on the other side of the road that leads down into our stock tanks. And we certainly don't want the runoff from something like that going into our fields and into our stock tanks. And I'm sure there's no way that they could prevent that. That's going to happen.
The only thing I can see is maybe you know how roads are, we've gotten some roads by prescription because they've been used as a public road for so many years. And then in 2008, we went ahead, I know these folks are saying they didn't get that in the tax statement, and maybe y'all did it, you know, maybe, I'm sure you're not saying the truth. But if we have the road now, either from 2008 when we did that, or by prescription, is there any way you can do some research on there and see if there is some way that they can get the road back? I'm sure there is, but.
You know, we've deeded roads back to the adjoining landowners in the past. It takes the permission or the agreement of all landowners that have been y'all's rule in the past before you can do it. That's the only thing. It would have to be surveyed and
But wouldn't some kind of nominal value have to change hands for the county to take them?
Well, that's the research that we want our county attorney to do, to see.
We never received anything.
They would have to give it.
We
They
did
would
not
have to
get
have
them.
their signature.
But that would be in the, that would be in the.
But I'm saying it doesn't have to be
Yeah,
monetary.
yeah.
It would have to be given.
We didn't get this, nor did we receive money for it. I'm Marilyn Viola, by the way. And I did not get any money, nor did payment, nor did we get this for a county road.
Information to the county.
And Carolyn, y'all didn't give, y'all's run on that road, and I know that the Riddles didn't.
So what's
and
known
neither
as
did
Doris
Pat.
Road is part of y'all's property? I mean,
It's
y'all's
Doris
property.
Street.
Okay, so y'all's property line goes into that or encompasses the whole
The
road?
property abuts Doris Street.
It butts.
Okay, but Doris Street is not your property.
I believe it's the Riddles property, is it not?
Well, let me tell you how this got started. My father, many years ago, developed this subdivision, and he named the streets. And not any time that I remember, and I've been around him a pretty long time, have I heard him say, I'm giving this to the county, I'm giving this to the city, or I'm giving this to whomsoever. But that street goes right to a dead-end gate, and that property at one time belonged to Mr. Bandu. I don't know who owns it now, but they can go there to their property. And the people that live on this side of the street can get to their property by Doris Street. And on the other side, at one time, Kenny Schultz owned that. And then there's our lot that we did not ever sell. And we're right behind Mrs. Rutowski, who is right on the access road. And they're asking her to move. Well, she's been there for almost a lifetime. And it's really breaking her heart. She's crying and all upset about it. And I think that's really cruel to do someone that way, just to make an entrance, to go up Doris Street behind this station to put their big trucks in there to wash them. That's the way it looks on this map that we've got.
Looks like the
And-
washer is on her
Yeah.
place.
And they've got two other entrances there, one close to the gas plant, and they took in the Espinosa property, and then another road, and they're trying to take in Ms. Rutowski. Okay, they said if you don't sell, we can build a wall around you. Now, would that be right? Would that be right to do someone probably 84 years old and has lived there most of her life? I don't think that's a good idea. And I wish that the commissioners could help us out on this to stop that road being put in on Doris Street. I'd like for that to be Doris Street forever. That's my mother's name. My dad named that after my mother. And then in front of her house, there's another street. I hope they don't come take that. It's called John Street. That's his name. So to me, it's kind of a sentimental place, but maybe you can't work on sentiment. But I'm not in favor of them coming in and putting an entrance to that station off of Doris Street. By the way, I'm Johnny Regal Hall.
Thank you, ma'am. Mike,
Can I say something?
go ahead.
I'm Cheryl Moy, and I live right across from the Sharps. And I am very happy that we have had a place for our truckers to get off this road safely and stuff. But I'm also here to say that the people need to be prepared for what is going to come in if this comes in by you. Because, like I said, I've been working, everyone knows, over 2 years trying to get a trash issue resolved. And not just, that is going to be a big issue that's going to come with this as well. Because when they bring this in, it doesn't belong, the city or the highway department, whoever's trash. It ends up, like you were talking about, as runoff down into, it travels a long way, these plastic bags and stuff. And it ends up into our tanks. We've lost probably a dozen or so of our big fish down in our tanks with these plastic bags and stuff. So, I mean, if the city wants to prepare and go forward with helping to bring these industries in and stuff, it's very important that we try to look at these things and also look at these issues of trash. I've sat here all morning and listened to the roads and all this stuff, and I know it's very, very important. All this stuff is. But we're still leaving some of the things out in this picture. And so I just want you to know to fight for what you believe in and to stand strong with that.
Have y'all had I heard somebody say the property, like one property goes across that road to Miss Customers, right? I mean, no, the current property for your mom and dad.
My mom and dad live.
Yeah, but.
My mom and dad live right, your store street, and that's right.
Okay, but their property would go all the way to Mrs. Koski's.
Yes, I mean, the in between
Have y'all
the
a difference?
Huskies and my mom is the road.
But-
It's the only thing that-
But do they, who owns the road? I mean, are y'all saying?
Johnny Mae, do y'all
I
own the road?
think the Riddles own the road.
Well, what I'm saying is, I need to,
But that land came back to the owners after the shut for so many years.
I'm not sure who.
well, what I'm saying is, Cindy, is that I think y'all probably need to find the, actually survey and so we can identify who, you know what I'm saying?
I
Get
think
a,
my parents are ready trying to
Title that.
survey. Trying to figure out.
if it shows to be everybody's and then, like I said, through her, maybe we can define who the owner is and then, if it's actually Miss Riddle's own road, I would think, then why are we even in this conversation?
Well, because we have heard from a lot of people that the county,
What?
a lot of people, a few people have said that this road is a county road, not a private road.
That's
And
correct.
that is why a gentleman was, my mom stopped a gentleman who was there with CTS or.
No, I was with Mike Watson.
I'm going to ask a name, say a name, but anyway.
Unit manager.
A gentleman, and to say what were they doing on the road? And they say, well, it was a county road. And so we wanted, and that they were going to put this large entrance on this county road. And so somewhere, somebody got the idea that this road is a county road, so we wanted to make sure that.
See, I think that's the county we're in right now. If we took it back in 2008, we need our county attorney to do some research on there, because we have to go through the proper channels in making it not a county road back, because in 2008, if the letters were sent out, but may not have been sent out to y'all by mistake or something, we're still involved in it, because we took it upon as a county road, so we have to go through the proper channels.
Even in
to resolve it.
2008, when y'all took it upon to take all these
I live on
roads,
there.
y'all making people involved, signs, yes, y'all making people involved, y'all giving people involved monetary value for their portion of the road, or y'all just took it with no exchange of.
Most of these were dedicated easements, or both by prescription, and I don't remember exactly what you're asking if that happened or not. I know that giving them anything, no, I don't believe that happened. But a lot of these roads were by prescription, they were there so long, and the letters were sent out, so if anybody had a problem with making that road a county road, now either it was dedicated or by prescription to come forth into Commissioner's Court, and the people that came forth were the ones that we answered. The people that didn't, we went ahead and proceeded on making those roads county roads.
Well, I know that we didn't receive a letter, and I don't know if Carolyn received a letter. She has property right there too.
It wasn't a letter, it was just an insert.
Well, even if it was an insert, I didn't get it. And basically, if y'all wanted to do this was supposedly our private road. It should have been a total letter without the tax paper and notifying the people of this. Would have been the proper
Posted
road.
too.
I know back in, and I'm sorry, back in,
Let's do the research.
excuse me?
Let's let her do the research.
That's-
And do, it's not the deed, it's who's paying the taxes. If they're paying the taxes and it's under their deed, it's still their land. Whether you deemed it a county road or not, if they're paying taxes on it, it's in their deed, it's their road.
I understand, I understand what you're saying. That's why we're gonna let our county attorney do some research on there, and then we can bring it back to the court. We can go from there, but I don't have a problem with trying to help you out as much as we possibly can.
I know that when I first, I didn't get involved in this earlier because to me, it was presented, it was a small gas station. It was just going to be a little gas station.
It's a big one.
And I'm like, if these people want to sell their land, that's nothing I can do about it. But it was wrong for them to try to force Bernice Rakuski and their family, because they've lived there longer than the 50 years that we have lived there. And then I go to textiles to see what's going on after I saw two gentlemen on the road talking about 300 feet entrance on that private road. And I almost had a heart attack. And I went and talked to Will at TechStop, and he showed me and Fabian the plans. And I'm like, oh my God. They're deciding, or they're wanting to widen this Doris Street 35 feet wide for 18-wheelers to come in and out, right next to our property and our house. And this is not right. For people our age to have to be uprooted so that there can be a corner store. I was going to say Valero corner store, but it's corner store. This is not right. Not only that, it would be taking what Carolyn has, her land behind us, and it would be widening it from there, that point too. They want to go 300 feet down there.
So y'all,
And yeah, it would make it a beautiful road if they made it and maintained it.
It's just not,
But
including
that's,
the traffic and how safe.
that's not how safe it's gonna be. Yesterday, I tried to leave my driveway at 5:30. I backed up into the ditch that runs. I had the traffic light, I had trucks and cars. It was 5 times that it changed green before I could even get on 80. And then try to get up to the red light to stop. And then I had to watch because an 18-wheeler in that turn lane going around was coming at me on my side. And if you have that turn lane, and then they are predicting two entrance in that, one just around the corner, one right before. Where is all of this going to go? Where is this traffic going to go when you have lanes that are coming straight forward, and then you've got one turning? You're going to have, I mean, it is going to be such an outlandish, dangerous intersection. It is the most dangerous intersection in Karnes City. Even stripes up there is not as dangerous as what this is going to be. And I think y'all as commissioners should vote and do everything you can to stop this corner store so that we in the county are safe. They can go anywhere else that they can, that it would be safer than right there at this congested intersection, which is already so bad. And we've had wrecks, but we haven't had as many because people in this community watch and we back. That one day I had a back because I had a car in front of me that was backing, and 2 cars behind me finally decided they better take the turn to 181 to get out of the way so we could back up so the 18-wheeler wouldn't hit us. And I mean, y'all need to come and see. It is really bad. That one morning I got out of the house and I looked. Red light. 5 18-wheelers had a red light, and the other cars were slamming on brakes because they were going.
Well, we can sit and talk about this all day long, but we need to find out exactly who owns that road. And Herb, I guess it's going to start with you, try to get us to see where if the county did take it or by prescription or whatever the case may be. What do y'all think, Corey?
Well, you all want to create more problems if you want to give them entrance and exit by our house. You're creating somewhat.
We're not.
Excuse me, I'm
Don't
sorry.
give them permission to do it off the county road, if it's a county road, if it's a county road.
Right,
We
but
just
y'all,
deny them.
right, but y'all don't see anything wrong with them putting
I don't.
this gas station by
I don't
the,
think it should be put.
You know, if I had my way, I'd have a hazardous material route built around Karnes City and around Kennedy. And around Fall City and around where anybody else to keep all the trucks out of the city limits altogether, if that was possible. That's not gonna happen because it's gonna be too expensive. Maybe one day it will, who knows? Maybe not in my lifetime.
Being commissioners, can y'all write the corner store to tell them that we don't want this in our county? right there in that, well, they can put it someplace else in the county, but not in that bad intersection. Can y'all do that?
Honestly, I'm not sure if we can write them. We may be able to invite them to our court or something, put them on an agenda item and maybe have a discussion with them.
Well, if you do that, can you please make sure that all of us on Doris Street?
I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm just saying
But
that's
if
that's
you
a
do
possibility.
She's asking to make sure they're aware.
Of course, yeah. Something like that does
And
happen, we will let y'all know.
I know right now the Espinosa has not sold, nor has the Chesapeake. So.
Well, my thing too is, I think, you know, this is all part of the economic development of the city of Karnes City and the county, I'm sure. And you got the economic development director back there, Mr. Crowell back there. He might be able to shed more light on it about maybe possible another location or whatever. I don't know if he had anything to do with this property or not.
Is he the one that brought this in?
I work for the city of Karnes City. This property is not in the city limits. It's county property.
Passing the buck.
No.
Well, that's all I wanted to hear then. So Herb, if you can get this stuff researched for us, get it researched, find out where the property is. If it is a county road, then I want the family to petition the county road, the county to close the road, and we'll go from there. And that's all we can do right now. So it's got to start with Herb. You can work through Herb Hancock, our county attorney, and get the research. Y'all are going to survey y'all's property, what is it, to find out exactly where that is. Ms. Riddle, I guess you have to survey, see if you still own that road.
Well, why would we have to survey? It's already here on record.
Yeah.
But just to get the most current.
We have the original plat. The original plat.
This is the original, back from forever before most of us were born.
We'll get with Mr. Hancock anyway. That's something as a starting point for there.
That's the original plan and it shows as a private road?
Yeah. Right?
What year was that?
Street.
What year was that?
Lord.
I mean, I thought it would have it on there, I'm sorry.
It's got the page and volume number, unless they have different pages now at the office.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Hall.
Do y'all, what is y'all's responsibility? Do y'all have any say, yes or no, to this?
I'll check it out.
I mean, is that y'all's responsibility? Whose responsibility is that to say yes or no?
If I'm correct, Herb, if a business is coming in, as long as they purchase the land and the landowner sells them the land, they can put their business there, right? Now, if they're adjacent to a county road, then it makes it our business like this or a private road. But if they buy land out there against a state highway, and they're gonna build a gas station against a state highway, we can't stop them from coming in. Is that the question you're asking me?
Yeah,
No.
so the city turned it down because they had jurisdiction,
No.
didn't want it.
Do not mistake, for the record, the city didn't have nothing to do with turning it down. It was CST's decision.
But y'all preferred it not to be there.
No, we were willing to work with them if they're going to be in our city limits, which
I
that
understand, but
property
you
is.
preferred it not to be on the hill. Is that what I heard earlier?
No.
You sure that's not what you said?
I said there was another site that I would prefer they look at
Okay, not that one. Okay. There was a better site.
because it was much larger.
And that was in the city?
Yes.
And they didn't like that, wherever this piece was?
And what he's saying about a business, we don't have any say in the business. If they properly purchase the land and they meet all the criteria, we don't have a way of stopping. It's the same as with sexually oriented businesses. They cannot be prohibited from the city of Kansas City. We can limit where they locate by, because of a school or a church, but past that, we have to allow them.
And we can deny access to a county
Right,
road.
I
if
just,
we want.
yeah, okay. I just want to know where our next stop will be. I mean,
Yes, I understand. Well,
Okay.
we can, once we know something from Herb, we'll contact you. I'll just leave y'all's numbers here, all the names and numbers, and leave them with Herb too, and then we'll contact y'all and see what we
I
revisit
appreciate
this.
y'all's time. Thank
No,
you.
no problem. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
When you-
Okay, y'all just
Thanks.
leave, right? Y'all can have one.
Well, we're going to